Hi guys, and welcome to the Marshall online demo for the Marshall MG50CFX, which is part of the latest MG range. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you across the front panel and then check out some of the sounds and upgraded effects in the new MG range. First up, you can see obviously the whole thing looks different. It's covered in this very cool carbon fiber covering and also has a silver front panel. So the MG range now has its own very unique looks. Going from left to right on the controls, first up we've got gain, then we've got bass, middle and treble. Then you've got your reverb control, followed by your volume. Then you've got your effects section consisting of your modulation effects first up, which we'll look at in more detail in just a minute. Then you've got your delay section, finishing up with your master volume. If you're familiar with the layout of the current MG range, then this will look familiar to you, but there are some subtle differences as we'll look at. Along the top, you've got your channel buttons. First up, you've got the clean and crunch button, and then the next one along is to pick between your two overdrive channels, overdrive 1 and overdrive 2. Then you've got your reverb on and off, then your effects, your main effects on and off, tap tempo control, external effects, damping, and your store button. All right, so first up, the clean channel. Just here, it's green, which means I'm on the clean channel. I've set the EQs, bass just over half, middle on just under half, and treble's kind of up on about 8 or 9. Without any effects, this is just the straight sound that you can get. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch over to the crunch channel by pressing the clean stroke crunch button. I'm going to bring the gain down a little bit and push the mids up so we get more of a sort of authentic Marshall crunch kind of tone. Next up, overdrive 1. I'm going to bring the gain up a bit. It's more along the lines of sort of traditional high gain Marshall sounding. Going to leave the EQs where they are. And overdrive 2, when you switch over to overdrive 2, you'll hear there is more gain and it's slightly bigger in sound as well. So I'm going to take a bit of the mids back and switch on overdrive 2. All right, so that's a very quick look at the 4 main channel sounds that are within the Marshall MG50. What we're going to do now is check out some of the effects. So first up, the reverb. Now, if you're familiar with the previous MG, you know there was reverb built into it. What you've got now is split reverb on this model and also with the 100 models as well. So first up, you've got a studio reverb. So set pretty high, it sounds like this. What I'm going to do is switch over to the spring reverb now so you can hear the difference. You can obviously have a very little amount of reverb if you want. That's just sort of showing you the more extreme kind of sounds you can get out of them. But it's nice to also have obviously the two different flavors of reverb in the amp. Onto the modulation effects, similar to the previous MG, but there's some different stuff in there as well. First up, you've got chorus. You can obviously make the rate and depth of chorus more, so if you want to, just by turning the control round clockwise. So if you want a subtle chorus, or if you want a more extreme chorus. Same thing with the phaser. If you want a nice slow phaser, you can. The more you turn it round, the quicker it gets. Same deal with the flanger. A very cool addition to the latest MG range is this vibe effect, which sounds actually very cool when you get like a crunch sound going on. Again, you can change the speed on that as you heard me doing at the end there. And lastly, the last type of modulation effect in here is another new effect, which is an octaver, which sounds very good also on the high gain channels. Obviously, you can use that effect across all the channels if you want. It just sounds particularly good on that one. It's a very, very good octave effect as well. It's just an octave down. So on to the delay effects now. You've now got the choice of 4 different delay types in these bigger MG units, the 50 and above. So first up, you've got your hi-fi type delay, and you've got your tap tempo here as well. And the tap tempo times, the delay times across the board have been extended on the new MG range as well. So this is an idea of the hi-fi sound. This is the tape delay. You can hear it starts to deteriorate in the background like it should. Then you've got your multi. And lastly, you've got a new one which is called reverse. which is kind of bizarre to play with, but it's a very cool feature to have as well. So that's a look at some of the cool features within the Marshall MG50FX. One thing that I haven't mentioned so far is this damping control, which is very cool, especially on the higher gain sounds. Damping control is situated just down here. If you're on overdrive 2, for example, this is without the damping control. Now this is with. So you can see it really beefs up the sound if you're into more sort of hard rock and metal playing, that kind of thing. And lastly, before we go, the last thing you can do with this MG unit, as you can with the previous MG, is custom store sounds to the amp and also to the available foot controller sold separately. So by switching it over to preset mode, it's as simple as setting a sound up for yourself that you want. Let's put some reverb in there. We'll put some chorus in there and a bit of delay. If that's the sound that I want, and I want to make that my clean sound, literally you just press the store button here and you'll see that the green light will stay steady on the channel. If you move any parameter from here, you'll see the green light will start to blink. But you could just recall it by going back to the channel itself. Wherever you go from here and make up a different sound, it doesn't really matter, because I'm now on the crunch channel. If I go back to the clean, then that original sound is still there. So it makes it very versatile. As I say, you can store up these sounds to the channels on the amp, or with the Stompware foot controller sold separately, you can store lots of different sounds. You can have 4 different clean sounds if you want. So that's a look at the Marshall MG50CFX. What we're going to do now is check out the rear panel. On the rear panel, the Marshall MG50CFX, first up, you've got your foot switch input, followed by your speaker output. Then you've got your MP3 line in, followed by your effects loop return and send. The features that you've seen on the Marshall MG50CFX are also available on the Marshall MG101CFX, 102CFX, and Marshall MG100HCFX. For more information on the Marshall MG Carbon Fibre range, please head to your local Marshall dealer.